Hello, good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to our live webinar. I am Ranchini Mehdi, Senior Demand Generation Manager at Ooma, and it's my pleasure to introduce Thad White, VP of Product Management, who will touch on Ooma Connect and our latest portfolio addition, Ooma Wi-Fi, and how you focus on running a business while we manage your Wi-Fi. Also, if there's any questions, please feel free to submit within the chat window, and Thad will cover in the end if time permits, or we'll get back to you after the webinar is over. With that said, Thad, please take it away. Thanks.
Thanks, Ranjini, and hi to everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar. Before we talk about the new products, I'll give a quick recap of Ooma for those who may be new to the company. Ooma was founded in 2004. We are headquartered in Sunnyvale in Silicon Valley. We went public in 2015 and are listed on the New York Stock Exchange. We surpassed a big milestone last year of 1 million core users and 2 million total users. We've been growing, especially in our small business focused product area at 50% year over year. And we're at about 800 people right now, employees and contractors. So at Ooma, our mission is to transform sophisticated technology into elegant, simple communications solutions accessible to everyone. And by accessible to everyone, that means a couple things. One is being really easy to use, easy to set up, but also being very affordable. So before we get into the Ooma Connect and Ooma Wi-Fi products, a quick word about the broader portfolio. As you may know, Ooma started out in the residential telephony market and has been the leading voice over IP home phone service as ranked by Consumer Reports for 5 years in a row. We, about 5 years ago, introduced Ooma Office, which is our business phone service offering targeted at small and medium-sized businesses. It's a leading cloud-based unified communications solution offering a sophisticated set of PBX features across a wide variety of endpoints. So you can use it with IP phones, with our mobile apps, and now with desktop apps as well. Ooma Office has been ranked the #1 voice solution for small businesses by PC Magazine for the past 7 years in a row. Sorry, it's 7 years old, Ooma Office, not 5. We recently launched Ooma Office Pro, which offers an even more powerful feature set, including things like call recording, voicemail transcription, and telemarketer blocking. And this is all done via the cloud, meaning no complex installation at your premises and no complex infrastructure for you to worry about. And then finally, Ooma Enterprise is our more customized offering for larger enterprises. And in that category, we have customers with hundreds of employees and phones in use. So that brings us to the newest offerings in our portfolio and the topics of this webinar, Ooma Connect and Ooma Wi-Fi. And I want to start off by quickly explaining the difference between internet service and Wi-Fi service, because many people today understandably think of them synonymously. Just as an example, my kids always say if the internet service goes down to my house, hey Dad, the Wi-Fi is down. But they're actually two separate things, internet service and Wi-Fi. So internet service is how the internet gets to your building or to your business facility. And that can be over the cable wires coming from the street, or DSL copper wires, or in the case of Ooma Connect, over the air from a nearby cellular tower. Wi-Fi, on the other hand, is how the internet is distributed within your building. And so it uses something called an access point, or AP, inside the building, which is it's something often integrated into a router that wirelessly connects your specific devices like smartphones or laptops. So I'll talk about these two things, Ooma Connect, Internet Service, and Ooma Wi-Fi, how they can be helpful for your business, a little bit how they work, the pricing, and a little bit about how to set them up. So when we looked at the needs of small businesses, we found a few challenges today related to Internet access. One is many businesses still only have access to DSL, which is older, slower technology, or even worse, satellite connectivity, which although can have decent speeds, has terrible latency and isn't suitable for things like voice over the internet. So we estimate about 20% of small businesses rely on DSL. So these customers typically are paying a lot for pretty slow speeds. So that's one problem. Second problem is that as internet access becomes more and more important, as more devices in your business use the internet, outages become more painful. So it's estimated that U.S. small businesses will suffer $40 billion in lost productivity this year because of internet outages. And the third big issue is voice quality over the internet. And again, outages can be a big problem, or high latency, or lots of packet loss can all create issues with voice, and that can be a problem for your business. So Ooma Connect Internet Service solves these problems in a very affordable, easy-to-use way. So Ooma Connect is a wireless internet solution. It can be used as your primary internet connection, or it can be used as a backup internet connection in case your primary connection fails. It's using high-speed LTE advanced connections. It has gigabit Ethernet routing. It supports telephony in all the ways that the standard Ooma Office base station supports telephony, and it has a great feature called continuous voice that I'll talk a little bit more about later. In terms of the wireless technology, it is built to provide the fastest speeds possible over LTE. It uses what's called a Cat12 modem, and it has 8 antennas inside to do something called massive MIMO antenna, where it's sending, or massive MIMO transmission, where it's sending and receiving over multiple channels at once. So when I talk about high-speed connections, what does that mean specifically? Well, internet speed is usually measured in megabits per second, and people typically talk about the download speed. As a comparison, DSL, which we talked about, is often providing around 10 megabit per second download speeds. Our customers with Ooma Connect are usually seeing between 25 and 75 megabit per second download speeds. So much, much faster than DSL. And then compared to satellite, the Ooma Connect LTE connection has very, very low latency, so typically under 25 milliseconds. That's compared to satellite, which has latency in the hundreds of milliseconds, because the signal must go all the way to space, to the satellite, and back. And that kind of latency really isn't suitable for voice calls. So really fast speeds and really low latency make this a very, very high quality internet connection. So another great thing about Ooma Connect is that it's super easy to set up. It doesn't require a truck roll, as it's called in the industry, for an installer to come and mount anything or drill holes in your wall. We've heard horror stories from businesses who order new internet and they have to wait weeks for the internet to be installed. With Ooma Connect, you order it from us, we ship you a box, and you're usually up and running in about 15 minutes from receiving the package. So two more benefits of Ooma Connect. We talked about using it as a primary internet solution, but it's even more powerful as a backup solution. So let's say that you have good, strong internet connection from your cable provider and it's reasonably priced. That's great, but it goes down once in a while. And if you're a retailer with a point of sale system or you have a credit card reader, you really can't afford for that to go down. Every minute is potentially lost business. If you're a service provider who relies on phone calls, you can't afford the phones to be down, even for moments. So Ooma Connect solves this by providing redundancy. And so in the case of an outage of your primary ISP, the Ooma LTE connection will kick in automatically, keeping all of your devices online. And an even better feature of this backup is what we call continuous voice. And as a technology guy, this is really an exciting feature for me to talk about because Ooma is pioneering this solution that really provides the best quality available. So this is patent-pending technology that routes your voice calls simultaneously over two links from your premises. So it's routing the voice over two connections simultaneously. And what that means is that even if there's the slightest degradation of one of those paths, maybe one of your internet connections is experiencing higher latency than the other, or just has a hiccup, the voice stream will not be interrupted. It will continue unimpacted because essentially whichever packet, in the terminology of voice over IP, the voice is being converted to packets, and as those packets are sent or received, whichever one arrives first is used. So really just a fantastic technology that provides the most sort of unbeatable voice quality and reliability. There are two components to the Ooma Connect solution. The first is the Ooma Connect base station, which functions as a router, has a WAN and a LAN port. Very powerful Linux computer for routing, easy to set up. You plug the connector from the antenna that I'll talk about next into the base station and plug in your existing internet service, if you're using this for backup, to the WAN connection, and then finally plug in your downstream internet connected devices to the LAN port. And we do have lots of resources available that come with the product, instructional guides. We have videos online if you have questions about how to set this up with your internal network. The second component of the Ooma Connect system is the LTE adapter. This is essentially an antenna that you want to place in a location inside or outside your building that has good cellular coverage. It is IP65 weatherproof rated, so you can place it outside. If you place it inside, it's pretty flexible. Ideally, you want to place it near a window and on the highest floor possible, but really anywhere in your facility that has good cellular coverage will work. We offer flexible pricing plans for Ooma Connect, depending on how you will use it. The equipment is $5.99 one-time cost, or you can rent the equipment for $15 per month. We have 3 service plans depending on how much data you intend to use. A 10 gigabyte plan, which is great for backup use, where you're not using the LTE connection most of the time, but it's there in case of an outage. We have a 50 gigabyte plan. It's great for primary internet use or more frequent backup use. And we have a 125 gigabyte plan for primary internet for companies with heavier usage. If you go over these limits, we do have overage, reasonably priced overage plans. Now let's talk about Ooma Wi-Fi. And as a reminder, Wi-Fi is the part of your service that connects your wireless devices inside the building, such as smartphones, laptops, cameras, point-of-sale system, any wireless connected device, to an access point. And we will talk about the access points that are part of this Ooma Wi-Fi solution, as well as the service and how it works. What inspired us to provide this is that Wi-Fi is becoming an even more important part of the operation of a small business. You have more and more devices connecting via Wi-Fi. You may have employees using Wi-Fi, but you also may have guests who you want to offer Wi-Fi. And all of that requires some specific features in order to make sure that the performance is great when you need it and where you need it to be great, and that all of the connections are secure and that your data and network is protected. So the great thing about Ooma Wi-Fi is it's an enterprise-grade solution, but available to small businesses. These access points I'll talk about, and the features for managing security and controlling the network are used by huge enterprises and organizations. So they're used in high traffic areas like stadiums, malls, hospitals, and more. And so with Ooma Wi-Fi, you're able to get this rugged, dependable, powerful technology for the same price as less featured and less powerful consumer solutions off the shelf. Also, Ooma and our support team, which is available 24/7, will manage this Wi-Fi network for you from the cloud. So what that means is when you receive the Ooma Wi-Fi kit, all you have to do is plug it in. You don't have to worry about setting up SSIDs and passwords and network rules. We will do that all for you based on your needs. So when you purchase Ooma Wi-Fi, you will be asked a few questions about the size and orientation of your business space. You'll be asked about your intended use of Wi-Fi, such as if you want to offer it to guests or visitors, what types of devices you have on the network, and more. Given that information, we will set up the network for you and ship you a box, and again, all you have to do is plug it in. So some of the key benefits, just to dive down a little more, is that Ooma Wi-Fi lets you easily separate networks for different use cases. So, for example, you can prioritize traffic from your most important devices. So let's say you have point of sale system or you have phones that are using Wi-Fi, those are critical. And you don't want traffic from those devices to experience any kind of congestion or conflict with less important traffic, like an employee browsing Facebook or watching YouTube videos. So Ooma Wi-Fi allows you to segment these networks and assign priorities to them so that you get the best performance for your most important devices. Separating those networks can also improve compliance if you're in a regulated industry, such as medical fields or PCI compliant credit card transactions. It can provide extra security so that these networks don't interact. So for example, your guest network doesn't have access to the same sensitive resources as an employee network might have access to. The access points are all high performance. We support 50 simultaneous device connections. We have the ability within Ooma support to get status of these devices and diagnose issues remotely if you see any problems. And the access points are flexible to move with you if you move workspaces or if you need to rearrange them in your building. I'll talk about 3 models of access point that we offer. The first is the AP150, which is great for space to cover of about up to 1,000 square feet. This device can sit on a desk. It's great for 5 gigahertz or 2.4 gigahertz coverage. These are the frequencies used that have some different advantages in terms of range versus throughput. So this device supports both of those powerfully. And the best thing about this is the AP150 is it also includes 4 Ethernet LAN ports. So with this device, you can connect it, and then if you have wired devices such as a computer, you can plug those into this as well. You don't need an extra switch. The second device is the AP250, and this provides more coverage than the 150, up to 3,000 square feet. And by the way, I'm talking about individual access points, but note that these can be combined into a mesh network. So when you order Ooma Wi-Fi, we will consult with you about the size and shape of your office space or your business's facility, and we will recommend a set of access points to efficiently cover the entire area. So the access points can be installed with multiple APs to cover the entire area as wired devices, or they can also be installed as a wireless mesh. For example, if you don't have Ethernet wiring to certain areas where you want to place an access point. And I'll talk about that a little more with the next AP that's very convenient. But the AP250 is a very powerful device. It can be mounted on a ceiling or sit on a desk. Great coverage, ability to support lots of devices, and very powerful antennas to improve coverage and throughput. And the third access point is the AP30. And this one is really convenient for creating mesh networks where you don't have wiring available. This device has on the other side that you can't see a little AC plug, and so you just plug it into the wall, it sticks to the wall, and it will connect to the nearest AP150 or AP250 and then broadcast the networks, the SSIDs, around it with good coverage. So again, it's great just to put one or more of these in locations where you don't have wiring for Ethernet wiring for internet. The Ooma Wi-Fi solution is affordable in terms of the hardware and service, and really a great opportunity to just have peace of mind that your network is configured in the most efficient way and with as little headache for you as a business owner. So the AP150 and 30 are $150 retail, or you can rent for $8 a month, and the AP250 is $270 or $15 per month. Subscriptions are $11.99 for the first AP per month and $6.99 for each additional AP per month. So I hope this webinar has provided you with some useful information. I'm really excited about these offerings and how they can solve pain points for small businesses today. If you have questions, I think we might be out of time, but we're happy to take those and get back to you on email. So feel free to continue to submit any questions. And with that, I want to thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you again, Thad. I do see questions coming through, and as you mentioned, we won't have time for Q&A today. So what I'll do, I'll put all the questions right after and submit to you for responses. And again, thanks to all of you who joined today, and hopefully this session was informative on Ooma Connect and Ooma Wi-Fi. Take care and stay safe.